Okay, let's I'm gonna air my grievance tonight. I'm gonna love the collectives becoming in my own, because I'm in my elevation era, my building era, because I done became the shit I was praying for, the wholeness that I was praying for, I done became that. So you gotta stand on business at a new level. Okay. Learning that as I go. Okay. So anyone who is lurking, dropping it, I need to air my grievances. And I know I'm not alone when I say this. Okay. And my cat is literally acting a fool. Girl, no. Okay. This no contact and people's misunderstandings of it. Okay. I'm going to just share my experience, share my thoughts on it, my understanding, my wisdom on it, and like y'all can share y'all's in chat, okay? The devotion room is where you learn how to become the in between of the grief to gold. So that requires you to be honest with yourself. That requires you to lay down the things that you were never supposed to carry, okay? And that's why we talking about no contact tonight. And this is a pop up because just because someone has done something for you, is connected to you through blood, that that is not, they're not owed access to adult you. And the spell that no contact is breaking in the families where it's occurring is the spell, the fact and idea that we do not own our children. And if we want adult relationships with our children, we should be cultivating those as their kids. Be somebody they want in their damn life when they have a choice. Because when you think it's about you and your kids going no contact with you is about, it's about their well-being. And so what I'm laying on the altar is no contact is a gift in many ways. Now we can't see it because our society is about perception, aesthetics, how things look to everyone else, not how real is it, but how it looks to other people. Okay. And if you're here in the chat, drop a rose, okay? In the chats. Just so I know you're here. And if you're feeling what I'm saying, like if you're experiencing this, because this rise of discussing like no contact, and then y'all know the people that just wanna, they got the answer already. The reality is the parents and the people who don't understand people going no contact, whether it's rude or, that's not the point. The root here is you have made your presence, your actions, your energy, something about you has made someone so unwell they had to remove you. And then you know this is about their wellness, not not yours. And if you love them for real, right? For real, and you see them for real, then you will honor that. Because why would you want to stay in somebody's life you're making sick? And you don't even know how. So you might want to sit and be like, okay, I'm making them unwell. What am I doing? What did I do? Well, only you can figure that out. This is not for them necessarily to tell them unless you're going to hear them and see them. When we think our children owe us relationships because we did the things that we had to do by law, we are in wrong relationship to that connection. We don't see it for what it is, that you're not owed access to an adult simply because you know them. You had them, you took care of them. That relationships and how you treat people matter to all people, including children. They are not things to control. And let's talk about you. Humans, we are not brands. We are not things to be optimized. Like you are a living, breathing altar. You are not basic, you sacred. And so what you are connected to impacts you. And if you and how you live it and how you treat me and how you is making me sick, why would you want me to stay? Now look, love sometimes says, I will let you go. I don't have to understand. It don't mean they're not gonna grieve. But like in my own instance, in my journey of turning my grief to gold, and welcome, I see y'all two people out here. Welcome. Thank you, Chat. Thank you for joining. And y'all can, if you've been no contact, like you experiencing that, or you want to understand why your child or someone you loved or used to love went no contact, like you gotta open your heart and mind. So I want the truth to come through in the most loving way I can, because I heal my shit so I can speak with love. Because it's hard when people's dogs. Like, get it every time. Okay. But, and so that's all I will promise, is that I will speak from love. I will share the wisdom I have learned from walking this journey myself as a wounded eldest daughter who healed her shit, because healing's real. And I did it. And I just been seeing this no contact conversation going along. And as a practicing mama mystic, a real ass mama mystic in real life, y'all, I just got ordained. I'm doing a wedding. Okay, I'm doing a wedding and I'm so proud of myself. Like, I left the church, y'all. I didn't know what the fuck I was gonna find, okay? She found me. And so that's why I can speak from this perspective. I have lived this. I had to go no contact with my last remaining parent. I didn't do that for him. I did that for me. Okay? For me. I'm supposed to stay connected to someone who I ain't never heard said love me as a child, let alone an adult. Now, why the hell would you want to stay connected to someone who was doing that to you, but still wanted the privileges and the social currency of being a parent, but making no effort to even get to know this person? Everything I did to try to get his favor. Well, I'm just gonna, because you had me. Why would you want that for your child? Why would you want, if you were making your child sick, why would you want them to stay connected to you? Even that is a small act of love and grace that says, I don't have to understand it, but I love them enough to trust that, like, they're doing the right thing. No, they hurt. How you doing, Bridget? They're hurt. And I'm not saying you're not gonna be hurt when your child doesn't want to be in contact with you anymore. No, it's painful. Grieve so you can start to heal. But when you think how it looks, because that's what's driving it, that's our cultural conditioning. I have grace and compassion for all the parents who don't understand. This is the first time, but this is what I want you to understand. This is the first time in history that we have had enough power, enough protection, and not need to stay in relationships with people simply because we have to survive. And as adults, this is the safest time we've ever had in history, with all the shit that's been going on, for people to say, you don't get access to me just because you had me, just because you did a thing for me. I am not something to be transacting with. I get to decide who has influence and access and impact over me as a divine being. Nobody gets to decide that for me simply because we related. And that's hard. Shit. This is happened to me with my child. I'm going to honor it and respect it. And I'm going to do some digging. Because what the hell was I doing? When you do that, you are opening up possibilities for a new future, because you now need to see your child, one, as the child who was living with you, and now the adult who has been shaped by whatever was shaping your ass and kicking it. Why? And then you was bleeding on everybody. Because this is about also these generations, they had a lot of trauma and wounds and no real, you know, supports to address that stuff. I mean, we just in the last things that we've learned in the last 10 years, okay? Kids, think about 50. All the things that they were carrying. They're carrying that stuff and the shit that happened in real life, this life, with your parents. And so I've been 2 years, 2 years, I think, 2 or 3 years, no contact. And I'm not bitter. I'm better. Better than ever. Better than ever. And I'm also doing the intentional work to foster a relationship with my child while I'm their first cheerleader. I honor them. I'm not their first hater. That's that was the legacy my father left. Listen to his voice say I was not gonna be nothing till I was 35. My goodness. I wouldn't want you in my life either. See? It's not about I'm not bitter. I'm not mad. In fact, I release him because it's like I don't perform my life. I live my life for real. Like I have integrity. I don't like you. You're causing me harm. I gotta honor myself. If I say I'm worthy, well, what does that mean to be worthy? You can't just say these things. You gotta do them. That's how you become them. You become different when you practice the love, not self love, confidence, self worth. Those are words that must be backed up by right thoughts, which are backed up by right actions. And in the reverse order is how your thoughts and words influence your actions. You become what you do, and you become through that practice. So if I'm honoring me and I'm healing me and I'm returning to my wholeness that I always existed, I can't just stay in relationships to make other people feel good if they're hurting me for real. And it could all be a delusion, but okay, maybe it's all. But if I feel like this is damaging me and I want to be well, then I have to let go of it. And that's what our ancestors help us do. The ancestors are calling us collectively because they want us to let go of this shit that we should not have been carrying. But you cannot do that with support if you're rejecting them. And they raised some of these parents that we're going on contact with, you know? It may not feel good. It didn't feel good when I did it. 3 years, 3 years out. It was awful. My mom died. I was left with him. My mom, like my biggest supporter, my biggest encourager, gone. Like, and then I'm left with him. Then I realized my siblings are left with him. And I'm like, now as the eldest daughter, I'm just taking on the responsibilities. And he let me. And he let me. And it was awful. So much grief. This is how I know grief intimately well. This is why I offer grief in the garden sessions, because you gotta talk about and be your first witness as to what you have experienced, who you had to become because of the things you had to survive. We know hurt people hurt people. All of them do. Some of them are monsters, like Diddy, and some of them just like hurting each other, like trying to just love each other, but bleeding all over each other. We don't mean to. We don't know how these wounds have shaped us all the ways. Some ways, you know, but not all of them, but it shaped all of you. And we're slowly like learning that because we like very trauma informed, we very traumatized. We're experts. How to heal, we're learning and remembering because the feminine deals with the healing, the nurturing. And so we have a very hungry, starving society. And we're lacking love, and it's showing up from the top all the way to our families. And yeah, okay, he was traumatized and all this. Okay, but I can't stay connected to you, my boy. It's taking energy from me. I'm an energetic being, so I need some of my energy. This is about personal wellness, not bitterness. And the loving thing that I do for myself may not bring you the love and peace that it brings to me, right? But to love our children, to understand that they're not ours to decide for, especially when they're grown. Like, they must be respected. You gotta anchor a new relationship with your child as an adult. And hell, mind you, I don't have an adult child. So this is just the wisdom that I've learned from being open to see what it means to be a parent beyond just, the material. And every single thing does have a deeper understanding behind of it, a spiritual or a hidden, invisible understanding of behind it. If you want to know that, I want to know that. And it's multiple, reasons, but this is one. No contact is breaking the spell. You don't own your children. You don't own me, and you never really did. We just don't give kids rights. I mean, don't you think you should have a right if like somebody's beating your ass to get them to stop? Like what you mean? And I think, that's a whole separate discussion, but like at the minimum, that type of protection is not even for children, And so now I'm gonna protect myself now that I can. Yeah, because I'm grown now. I got McDonald money. Okay, so like if you win no contact, drop a rose for yourself. I am proud of you because I know it was extremely difficult. I know it was hard. I know you didn't just make this spur of the moment decision. And even if you did, I honor you and I'm proud of you anyway, because it's still a hard decision, and they're talking about we get celebrated. You say that because you don't care. And that they're talking about we get celebrated. You say that because you don't care. Just wanted to lay this on the author this week because, I saw Oprah do her thing and I said, look, I feel like she plays devil's advocate. She has access to all this stuff and all these people, you know, and then it's like, that's the conversation you had. Like, let's try to understand without like watching. I ain't gonna say, but some of the things I saw was like, we need to grieve and we need to start trying to understand ourselves because that'll help us understand the others' actions better. Let me text him back. So yeah, if you want no contact, drop a heart for yourself. I'm proud of you. Um, that's actually when I got a therapist. I did a lot of self-led, self-directed healing work, and I actually got a therapist when I decided that I was potentially going to go shut the door. I didn't even call it no contact help. Like it was on the rise when I did it. And hold on, I don't even know if I can still be if I'm still being heard. Um, okay. So yeah, we are breaking the spell, you know, and this just happens to be being done in the parent-child relationship. I mean, look how people treat their blood. First off, like look how people treat their blood. No one, you should never feel like someone is owed a relationship with you simply because they are your blood. We've got to break that belief. It's primordial. It's ancient. And we've needed it for survival, but you grown, you an adult, you get that right. Nobody is owed access to you. And that's the spell that no contact is breaking. Hey Sharma, that is one of the spells. And when we're in our grief but not honoring it, in our anger but not expressing it, then our understanding of things gets distorted. And we're also just playing our conditioning that has us caring about how things look to the world, not how they feel to ourselves or even our children. And sometimes more of ourselves than the other person involved. That's our conditioning, you know? That's why I have grace for them. But look, I'm not gonna stay in that toxic relationship. You saying, how have you been? How you doing? This is a pop-up. This is a pop-up because I missed going live. And I just wanted to lay this on the altar this week. The no contact conversation. I've been no contact, like I said, 2 or 3 years, something. And I did that for my well-being. I did that for my well-being. And still I had to go through the grieving process with that. Like they act like it's easy. And we out here getting congratulated. Y'all you want a TikTok? Like what are you? I don't understand. Y'all are getting congratulated. You want an article? Write about it. What are we talking about here? This is your child's well-being. You want to go on TikTok and air your grievances? Everyone does. Like, have at it. But y'all are there and not understanding, and that is why you have been no contacting. You still can't see your child as the human that they are, not something you own, not something that owes you. Relationship, because you're gonna get old one day, and then it's like, hey, if your kids did to you, or you did to your parents, then what about your kids doing to you? I hope that they don't, because I'm being intentional about how I'm being in relationship to them as children and honoring them and giving them, the right appropriate amount of agency based on their age. Hope that they understand this is my first time. I'm gonna make mistakes. Apologize a lot because I think that's just better because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to, and I'm hoping that it's going to be, that I honor them and I see them and that they hear my voice as their first cheerleader and not like how I did hearing my dad's voice as my biggest hater. Number two, besides my own, like, sir, I was 34, 35. No, you should actually tell me to cut you off. You could call me and say, actually, I think you should cut me off. They're not ready to see. And they also are not ready to see themselves either. Whatever was shaping them shaped the child too. Whatever they were struggling with, the child had to experience their own child. And a lot of people aren't really as honest as they should be so that they can understand because it's just painful to them. It's a real wound, and that's how hurt people actually do hurt people. All of us do, especially if we learn it in our model. Because, like, hurting people is, you can do that by accident. And so, yes, hurt people do hurt people in a variety of ways, from systemic to, culturally, all the way down to just somebody that is just ignorant, don't understand, right? And just in a conditioning, a traditional cultural view of children that we have outgrown as conscious beings. But, we struggle to honor the other still. So I just wanted to lay that down on the altar. Um, you are not a brand. You are a universe becoming, just like children, because all beings are. And when we don't see each other, it's one of the ways we are able to more easily participate and harmony each other when we can't see. And when I mean see, to honor another being without even needing to understand. We are always looking for ways to validate people through what we see, even though we know you cannot. We have these euphemisms. Looks can be deceiving, and so we know that, but we don't practice it because it's conditioned. Okay, we're conditioned to honor our parents. That's still your parents. Like, yes, because this is an actual biological thing. Of course, it is still my parent. Explain quickly. Like, what do you mean by this? Are you stating facts? Did you have to add more to add? And the other grief, I had when I went no contact is like my son. I'm like, shit. But it's like, oh, he didn't like become better with my son. So, like, maybe that would have weighed in my decision. I'm just saying, like, if it was me, if I was the one that went no contact with, like, you couldn't stop me from, like, I'm gonna respect you, right? But I'm gonna send something in the smell mail. Like, I'm gonna I'm gonna honor, like, the space, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I am. Cause I was like, I feel like shit. Maybe they need help or therapy or something. I want to make sure they can afford it. Like I got my therapy fund for my child because studying all of the wisdom. I mean, still real life on boots on the ground. You learn as you go. And so that the idea that our parents are owed a relationship by default is like it's older than colonial, but it definitely got it's patriarchal, you know, um, because the focus on it is not you healing or the sickness or the energy of what this relationship is doing. It's on how things look. And now they're equating it to who's going to take care of all this elder population. And it's like, what? Peoples did this. When we are wounded in our hearts, when we did not receive the love we needed, when we didn't receive the support and the care, we become shaped and by what we don't have, and that imbalances us. And then we become people because you become those things who have have and weaknesses related to the things that we didn't have and we needed. We know what happens to trauma, children that can experience trauma if they're not supported. We know what it looks like. Our And I think for me, it's just like, I would love to hear, I don't have to understand. I respect it. Like, I honor it. And I don't hear that enough. I feel like that is the most basic form of love you can offer, like that grace to your own adult child. Like, I never heard I love you, sir. And it's like, you feel like you're in a relationship because you took care of me, because the law, we call it neglect. And you did. But also, I never knew that you even loved me as your child. You know? How you think it feel to live with someone like that who's they're your parents and not acting like the parent that all children deserve? And a lot of us are becoming those parents in real time and we struggling. But we got to give ourselves grace. And we have to also understand that lesson for what going no contact is for us too, and the children that we're raising. Being intentional. And I think a lot of us are doing that. We're trying to find new ways to parent. We ain't trying to be like I hope, and we figuring it out. And they're scrutinizing us every, like we figuring it out. Oh, the gentle parenting didn't work. I mean, maybe it doesn't work the whole time because it's new. And so maybe we need to keep just like working on it. But respecting people works usually. Yeah, just like respecting that they're a human and a person, and if you don't just get control over them because you want them to do something now, you're just gonna stop them what they doing right now. You just gonna do it right now. That's rude. And there's people like that. Like, shout out to kindness. Mutual respect. Like, so you're just gonna hit me because I didn't do it? Huh? What? And I mean, there was a time. Okay, there was a time. But I mean, ask him and then confused. So you saying whooping my child is the same as if I was like doing it because I did love them. And it's like, do you hear yourself? Because I know what's that artist that's kind of been going viral, and she did like the painting with the belts, and everyone's very. But I mean, I have grace for my father because you know I could have, but no, I actually disconnected myself and done the work to dissolve the wounds from that relationship, that toxic relationship. And in turn, dissolving those wounds, dissolving that grief, I dissolved also the chains that was on him. That's how powerful it is to honor yourself, to understand that you are divine, you are sovereign, and nobody gets to determine and tell you that they're going to connect to you against your damn will. You're grown as a Obedience is not love. Ownership of another is not care, and we're struggling in romantic relationships, in child parent, familiar relationships, and platonic. Honoring somebody honors that the fact that they're going to be different, they're going to change, they're not going to always be the same, they're not going to always be the same age. It honors the fact that we treat each other, and every single moment matters. And you don't see it all, but it tallies up. The other person, it tallies up. And they can only go off of how you're treating them when they realize that your words don't matter, and that we all should be taking inventory and understanding that's a part of growing here too. Sometimes you grow out of relationships, especially if they're harmful. I don't think, if anyone, if very few percentage are going no contact, not because they wasn't traumatized. I don't know. You don't need a good reason. The reason is I'm grown. I'm a sovereign being. And doing the bare minimum is great, and that satisfied your vision of a parent. It didn't satisfy mine, and I think I deserve better. And yeah, you're gonna always be my parent, and I can never disconnect myself from that. And I mean, the one good thing you did was the one thing you said you did was add me. Okay, so that's why I give you grace. I let you go in love, and I'm gonna use that pain that you gave me that I never should have had to carry, and I'm gonna turn that grief into my gold. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what you do. I ain't mad at him. I'm glad I finally honored myself and didn't put other people's perspective of my relationship with this person ahead again. At first, I was taught to do that. Then I became grown and I kept on. Because what I learned firsthand is that prisons require permission. And sometimes that permission is just your conditioning that you had. And so you're saying yes because you don't think you can say no. But when you realize you can say no, now you are at a crossroads. Now you have to decide, will you honor yourself or honor that person again who's hurting you or limiting you, whatever. That is not who you say you are. And that's how you grow on this thing. When you get freed and the spell gets broken, when you realize I can say no, I can take back access. And then you use the power and you don't shame yourself or judge yourself. You do it through love. I am doing this for me. That shit, that's how you heal. Step by step, action by action, asking, am I in this relationship or this connection because I don't want to sit with something? Because then you exploiting that person. Do I just not want to be alone and not have a family? That's a real ass grief. And you probably gonna have to grieve that one. If you grieve with guilt, it's like taking one sip of water. You letting out just a little bit of water because grief is your ancestral water. Well, you could just open the faucet and realize that grief is a natural process that is activated through loss of something, an idea, a comfort, a lie, an illusion, not just a person. You can grieve who you were and who you had to become because of the things you had to survive. Grief is just a part of the healing process. But we in wrong relationships are emotions, okay? So we suppress, depress, oppress, and that creates energetic muck and congestion. And then you can't see things right. And then you are bitter, or you think your kid's just being bitter and disrespectful for not wanting you in their life. And then you can't see shit straight and you can't see yourself, most importantly. when you don't grieve. It shapes how you literally see the world. Healing clears that away, but you can't get to healing without grieving. And so, what I would have loved, I could have done that. Maybe she did. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw some folks, and I was just like, they not ready. And then the psychologist talking about you gonna model this and your kids, cause like as if people are not consciously doing this. Like this hasn't been done with like intention. That someone just passively went no contact with. No contact requires activity. It's not a passive thing. It requires a conscious choice, a deliberate choice. And then like maintenance of the choice. So what do you and I've actually had conversations with my child as best as I could where he is on why, his papa is not in our life and why uh I wasn't speaking with my family at one point, most of them. Right? I don't sugarcoat what I've had to let go of to grow, to heal. Um, it was extremely difficult, especially as the eldest daughter, just taking care of everybody and always having solutions and always, but not being able to ever like, do it for me. And it was hard. But I also realized living as if I had to live that way was even more difficult because I didn't think I had any choices. The only reason I know this now is because of spirituality. I can understand the world, the undercurrents of things. Anyone can, if you take this journey. But that's what I realized. So today I was thinking about no contact and just I had saw a YouTube video and about my child is neurodivergent and has a PDA, and so I'm constantly looking for just like things that can help. It has been learned a lot, and I think it's important that parenthood be understood to be a hidden initiation, a hidden spiritual initiation, because they have that all these roles and they matter to your existence, and so people should have the rights to decide if they can do this. And I think even now, the no contact stuff is just the culture of parent to child. This relationship is expanding, and it's hard, when you're the first one to have to experience it. Like there are some legit, reasons to disown family that we were okay with, especially like very like abuse and but because you didn't like how I was parenting you. What? I can't be alive and fed. Drama. They just don't talk about the pain, right? They don't even, we gave it name and definition. Like, what you mean? I was a good, and it's like, hear me, hear me. Hold on, let me turn on the lights. I love when I need to come back on life and just lay it on the altar. That was my air my grievances tonight because somebody got to do it. And I want them to heal. I want everybody to heal and be able to see beyond just the surface, beyond their own pain, beyond their own wounds. And that requires you to see them first. That requires you to be your own witness. That requires you to break the spell that somebody is owed access to you or that you are owed access simply because you know somebody, simply because you have history, simply because they gave you things. They took care of you. As an adult, my goodness, honor that sovereignty. And the way I say, with compassion, not with beating yourself up, not with, oh, I don't have a family. And now you get the ability to make your own, to live your life your way, not the way you've been taught or that was modeled to you. Simply because you came into this family, whether for whatever reason, spiritual contract, who the fuck, you shouldn't get abused. Like, that does not say yes because you had a contract in spirit. Like, what the hell? And it's like, yeah, you know, I'm proud of what I'm seeing be transformed, even though it's difficult for all of us in society to be okay with this change, even though change is the only constant. That spell has to be broken for the soul to really be fully sovereign. In society standards, is 18, is an adult. I mean, look how we violating kids. They need protections from us, even as kids. And why can't we do this? And why does it have to be based off of whose kids they are? They're all kids are all of our kids because they're the next generation. All of them. You don't have to have any. And that's kind of sort of that indigenous understanding of children as not brands and products, they're people. Universe is becoming is what I say. We're stewarding them. We are not controlling and dominating them. And you are guiding, but as much as you're guiding, you are learning, because they damn sure came to teach you something. I'll tell you that. Some things, lots of them. Where you're taking life way too serious. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna ask you, chat, what does it mean to honor your own child's sovereignty if you have children? The sovereignty of children who are not yours, that you're around. What beliefs do you have about kids? Most people don't think about that till they have them or till they want to have them. And that starts with honoring the fact that everybody maybe they ain't fit for it. They haven't had the opportunity to think about it before maybe they got pregnant. So they should be able to have access to think and you see how we don't, but we want kids protected. No, we're performing that we want kids protected. And that's why they're not. Because those ain't my kids. Y'all saw how it was when the EBT got cut off. I don't want to take care of your kids. You shouldn't have had. Okay, so we know AI can't replace all the jobs. AI can replace everything. AI can replace AI. At the bare minimum, okay, babes. The earth to keep going, society needs people. These are all our kids. And if they all traumatized, well, we better be ready for a more dangerous world. So we need to break these paradigms. We need to try different parenting methods. We need to understand that children are individuals, conscious beings. Universe is becoming just like us. And when we can honor that in ourselves, we can allow them to go no contact for their own good. We can allow them as adults. We can allow them some freedom, and even in their childhood, within means, right? Not projecting our own fears and our own doubts and our own misunderstandings of ourselves on our children. That binds them, that shapes them. And then you might have, when they're ready to let it go, it's going to require them, and it requires us to look at those relationships and do something about them. Or I can't be healed if I want to hold on to the thing that hurt me. I can't. And I want my healing. I want my wholeness. And that's when I thought I had to want it. When all I had to do was let go of what it wasn't, You are not responsible for holding on to the pain you got from your family, your parents, to that ancestral pain, holding on to it like it's a vault. What we are responsible for when we get hurt by people, whether they love us, know us, or not, we're responsible for transforming it and transmuting it into voice, into vision, into will to live and to be who we want to be in this world. Not what that shit that happened to us is trying to tell us we can or cannot be. And turn that into strong living is what the ancestors, the Congo ancestors say. Strong living, vitality. Because that's what healing gives you back. And carrying pain from a relationship that you have outgrown damages you energetically. And if you did have that loving parent that you should have had, love is not a martyr. Sometimes love says you need to let go. And a loving parent would say, let me go. And so now you got to parent yourself. And you can do that when you're grown. When you realize, I'm a temple, I'm sacred. I get to determine. You are not owed this. And I shouldn't have to submit my agency, my sovereignty to be in relationship to you. I should not have to accept disrespect. And that goes both ways. Parent, child, parent, adult, both ways. I'm here for it both ways. So yeah, I just feel like she was playing devil's advocate. And it's like we could have had a better healing conversation. You know, I went no contact myself to live longer with my child, to learn some things so that I could be a better parent. And I mean, what's so crazy is like when I was dating my husband, he saw like some of the things that my family did and how my dad was. I couldn't even see this shit. I was blind to it until I left my religion and went on my spiritual journey. And he would say things and I just feel like, what are you talking about? That's damn. He was not here for it. And he never is. He's not here for the disrespect of me. No, because he's like, no, he never liked that shit. And I was just like, it's okay. It's all right. You know, yeah, I lost my mom too. I lost my mom and then I became, you know, the mom to my siblings. And the grief of all of that just, and my dad let it, you know? And it's like, hey, I ain't mad. I used to be. That's part of that healing journey too. I used to be very mad, very inflamed. My body, I would hear his voice, my body would flare up. Now, why the hell would I want that to be doing that to my child unconsciously? Please, go no contact with me. Because I ain't got it in me. I don't even want to grow now. Because he haven't. But thank goodness, like, I took this journey. I turned that pain. I alchemized that shit. I transmuted it because I was willing to face it. When you are willing to face it, you know, and love it. And what do I mean by love? That wound. You treat it like it's a wound on a baby, because it is. Your younger inner self. Because I said you already whole, right? So there's parts of us, you know, that correspond to different age levels in our consciousness. And your inner younger self is in there. Okay. If you're here, drop a rose so I know that you can still hear me, because we breaking that spell. And I'm proud of every single person who has had a hand in breaking that spell in their families and rewriting a new structure, a new path, opening up a new form of power that has been kept from you, that is your birthright. And you got to do that by facing these wounds, these shadows, these things suppressed through love. See them, witness them. You know, grieve who you were shaped by and what it turned you into, because maybe you've hurt people. Look, we've all hurt people. We're both victims, survivors, and we've done the hurting. We have. Because of our wounds, because of what we had to survive, because of what we thought was right. It doesn't make any of the shit right on both sides. But what it requires is us to face it with love, not domination, control, belittlement, self-judgment. The world can do that to you. You can't control that. But you can control how you witness yourself. And through self-punishment, you don't grow from that. That's not transmutation. That's destruction. That separates you from your soul. That fragments you, creates chaos in yourself. You can shield yourself from the world doing that through being your first witness to your own grief, your own pain, your own wound. Because first off, you got to see it to even know, can you do I need some extra support on this certain parts of it? But you got to be the first witness or you're just going to be bleeding. And so if you've broken that no contact spell, you're a cycle breaker, you're the one who has answered the call, or you call yourself and said, it's over, I'm ending this shit like I did because I ain't waiting for nobody to call me. Pick the fuck up. Because I ain't living like that. I saw my future and my destiny. I wasn't going to live another day because I got a child that I'm responsible for. I have the pleasure and the opportunity to pour into another universe and help them along their journey. This is about me, right? But it's about them. Most importantly, yes, I'm still here. Yes, I'm still here live. It's about them. And maybe, just maybe, I done a good enough job to where they want to invite me to the next chapter of their life when they don't have to be there in fear or obligation because they had to. And we'll be able to start another beautiful relationship as adult child to adult parent. I can see them in a new way and hopefully have lived enough to give them wisdom and advice and whatever support they need in right that doesn't overstep, but not too much. And me, hey, I'm here. Knock on helicopter. Honor your agency and autonomy and sovereignty. But like being wise. Everybody that's old don't got no wisdom. Just literally having problems and nobody being able to give you wise counsel besides pray. Wisdom, advice. Yeah, to like skill like things. But, I had to adult myself. And spirituality helped me do that. Spirituality helped me not internalize going no contact and punishing myself for it because that's not love. That is literal hate. It is literal hate to hold your past decisions and pains and the worst shit that ever happened to you over yourself. Like it was your fault. How you gonna be the person getting hurt but that's what and it's just because we don't know. We think love is just this feeling. Love is saying, you got to get out of my life. And since, because I love me enough and I honor me enough. And I honor you, like not you as in the human you, but like the soul you that knows, like, don't tolerate that shit. Not the human you. Like, I'm going to see beyond you to see that you in your right mind, your well self, your whole healed self would not want me to subject myself to that. And that's how I do it. I say, we're going to laugh about this one in the spirit realm. We're going to laugh about this when we get back. Because you would not want that. At the end of the day, you wouldn't want somebody to know that you're hurt. Most people, y'all know some hurt people like that. They like it. They feed off of it because they're hollow. Because the way the pain shaped them, they're hungry for it. And so they only know how to take it, dominate to get it. There's some people, that's their thing. And we should be making sure people are protected, But anyway, thank y'all for being here, chatting. I lay this on the altar tonight. And I just want to remind you that you do not have to hold on to that pain. You are not responsible for holding on to it. I said prisons require permission. Even if you don't know, you saying yes. If you're staying somewhere where you are in pain, where you are being taken from, extracted from, that is causing you mental unrest, chaos, it is not selfish. It is self-honoring to do something about that. You would not just let yourself bleed a physical wound out till you died. It is the same with heart wounds and energy wounds. It's the same way. Don't believe the bullshit that they're writing and about the no contact and the selfish. But how you do that matters, right? How you end the relationships can matter. I don't think you owe somebody respect that doesn't have any for you. But someone, maybe, like, you can be constructive or you can be destructive. But either way, you know, where you are, you can always choose compassion for yourself and for the other. And sometimes it is a hard choice. Sometimes it takes thought. And I think going no contact, I don't think anyone's doing that spur of the moment to be trendy, to have a TikTok story and build a platform. Oh my God. Like, they're doing it because they want to be well. Some part of them knows they deserve better. And I'm proud of you if that's you. So if you're here, what does liberation, or watching, I might upload this one. What does liberation feel like for you today? This one's for you to think about later and sit on and meditate. Who are you without the pain that you inherited? Who are you? Who could you be, maybe? And when you're honest with yourself about that question, ask yourself, what spell am I breaking with this truth? Because all of us have to break some of these generational spells in different ways. Some of us are doing it actively through going no contact. Some of us are opening our minds to understand why this is happening collectively right now. There's a variety of ways to heal and to address this conditioning in this wound. And some of us are doing it, we're practicing it, so that the collective can understand and can break this cultural spell. It's a little toxic, but we've needed it to survive. We know that survival in numbers matters, but not as much now. It does, right? Fundamentally, right? But when we, as conscious beings that are growing and evolving in our understanding, like, we know that's some toxic shit. Everybody that's a person doesn't mean they all believe the same things. It doesn't mean they're all for you. So we understand, like, if we put all that aside, numbers matters. But then when we understand each other as the universe is becoming, likes, thoughts, personalities, they don't always connect right in right harmony. So some of them extract from you. Hell no, I can't have that around. You can't have that around you. You can't have it around you. And so, yeah, we are breaking that spell. And, more parents are going to be grieving. But it really is a spiritual act of preserving yourself. And it's one of love that is about honor, self-honor. And I hope that everyone who has done that, who has questioned how they were raised, what was love, what felt like not love, has their healing, because that's the next step for even you, is to transmute it and rise from it, to grieve it, to not dismiss that pain, to not rush the process, but to know that healing is always there with intention, with conscious intention. You can transform even a simple journaling into a healing ritual session, y'all. Like, it's about your intention to do it, to not just sit in it. You don't go and tap the womb to just, when I say sit in it to use it to prove your unworthiness, to use it to prove why you weren't successful in this, to use it to prove why you deserve to be treated like you. That's what I mean. But if you're saying, I'm going to pull this back because I want to see it, I want to see who I had to be because trauma had shaped me, because a traumatic environment helped raise me, and I'm going to love that person too. Nobody else has to love you when you was a monster. Nobody has to when you was hurting, but you. because you know why, right? Shadow work is where you start to understand why you believe the lies or why you did the thing, you know? And we're the only ones that can kind of free ourselves from that through witnessing, through sitting with, through grieving, and through deciding to tell a new story, to become the you who you know you are underneath all of that and let it go, clear it away. That's what shadow work is clearing work. That's what healing is. And when you do it through love, that's the actual only energy that will transmute it for good. And love is not just a feeling. That's like level 1, you know. It's an intelligent, energetic force. It's what mystics call that foundational intelligent energy. We call it love. It's expansive, you know, it's diverse in function. It recycles because it's abundant, and it also like unfolds within itself. I say it has 1,001 names. Right? And understanding and knowing yourself is 2 of those.